Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is another follow along lift day, and today I'm focusing on the bench press. So just like all of my lifting sessions, I focus on compound movements, I focus on strength, progressive overload, reverse pyramid style training, and I'll take you through every step of the way. So follow along, let's get into it. All right, so warming up obviously is very crucial. I look at warm-ups a little bit differently when it comes to lifting heavy. You don't want to tax your body too much during the warm-up sessions. You don't want to use too much of your energy. So I generally will do 2 warm-up sets. The first one, just a rep or 2 with light weight. I'm going to add a little bit more weight and do another rep or 2. And warm-ups should really be 5 minutes, maybe a little stretching. You're looking to get the blood flowing. You're looking to just kind of ease those muscles up a little bit and get ready for your working sets. On the working sets, this is where the magic happens. The more that you can put into those heavy sets, the more you're going to see results from a muscle building standpoint and a physique changing standpoint. So not too much emphasis here on those initial warm-up sets. We're just going to get loose and start to get into it. So we got the bench here. I'm going to put on just a couple 25s, do a couple sets. And I'm always thinking about form, right? Even my warm-ups, practice makes perfect, right? I remember my coaches back in high school used to say, practice like you play. The warm-up sets, you want to take them just as seriously as the working sets. We're just not going all out, working on our form, getting the mindset right, and trying to think about how we're going to accomplish a great lifting session. All right, so warm-up set number 1. Just looking to do a couple of reps. That's really it, getting loose. Now, you don't really have to rest in between your warm-up sets. You can actually save a ton of time in the gym by not doing that. I see a lot of people warming up 5-10 minutes before they work out, 15-20 minutes. You just don't have to do that. Just a few minutes of warm-up before you get into it is all your body needs. Not trying to expend any unnecessary energy here. All right, so added a little bit of weight. I'm gonna do another rep or 2. Okay, that's it. So I'm gonna get into my working set in a minute here. And I actually track all my workouts in this book. If you've watched previous follow along lifting days, I focus on progressive overload. What that means is I'm picking the same exercises and I'm looking to increase weight or increase repetitions week over week. And if I'm not increasing weight or repetitions, I'm looking on increasing the quality of my form. So in this book, I'm gonna notate the list that I'm doing, how much weight I'm lifting, how many repetitions I perform, and I go back to my previous week and I'm gonna try to outdo it. Now, one thing I also will do, I made some notes here about the form compromises that I might have had. And when that's the case, I look back on them and I'll see these notes, hey, I've got to do these things better, I've got to do these things better. So in addition to lifting with more intensity, lifting more weights, lifting more reps, I'm looking to increase the quality of my form, the quality of my lifts. The better the quality, the more I'm going to get out of it. So these are all things I'm taking into consideration. So if you go check out my channel, I actually have some guides and tips on how to perform all these compound movements, including the bench press. So go check out my channel and you'll see step-by-step tips on how to get the most out of the bench press. All right, so my first working set last week, I had 5 reps at 245-pound plates, 225-pound plates, 210-pound plates. So that was a little bit lower than I typically go for. My first set, I like to get about 6 to 7 reps. So I'm gonna use that same weight. I'm gonna load it up and we're gonna get after it. Here we go. Now, just like I always preach, you're gonna wanna make sure to limit any sort of distractions, put as much focus into each set as possible. I found for me that I've gotten so many better results from lifting with intensity and putting as much as I can into each set, as opposed to a volume-based program where you're shooting for a certain amount of reps and certain amount of sets, etc. So I found that more is better when it comes to lifting if you're able to lift with intensity and go to failure. So that's my goal on every lift. How many repetitions can I get with good form? And I'm gonna push this all the way until I can't lift it another repetition. So let's go. I'm looking to match my 5 from last week. If I can get 6, great, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so add an extra rep from last week, which is great. And that's the idea of progressive overload, is small incremental changes over a long period of time is gonna create great results. Now, I think one of the biggest issues a lot of people have in the gym is they don't really have a plan. They're not tracking. They're going into the gym and saying, all right, well, today's my chest day. And they just go around to do anything available in the gym that's gonna work their chest, not comparing it with what they did the previous week. So there's this idea behind confusing the muscles. I think anybody focusing on muscle confusion, they're the ones who are actually confused, because that's not how you get the best results as a natural lifter. Now, sure, maybe if you're a bodybuilder and you're stepping on stage in a few months and you need to make sure every single little muscle is gonna pop, maybe that's a different story. But if you're average person, something like the flat bench press is gonna work every angle of the chest that you need to build a great physique. So less is more when it comes to lifting. All right, so I'm gonna rest 5 minutes. The reason why I do that is I want my heart rate to go down. Strength is muscle. 5 minutes rest period is gonna make sure that I'm primed to do set number 2 and looking to break another personal record from the previous week. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna take off 20 pounds. So this style is reverse pyramid training. And the idea here is your heaviest set is first. You're gonna take weight off and increase reps on set 2, and then continue to do that for set 3. This makes sure that when your body's primed, when you have the most energy, when you have the most focus, which is right out of the gates, you're hitting that heaviest set first. And those are the sets that really matter. So this first set or 2 of every workout for me is the most vital and the most important. Okay. Okay, so as I dive into this, I'll talk about rep range. So generally the way I structure my workouts is that first set, I usually focus on 6 to 7 reps. As I take weight off, my second set, I usually look to get about 7 to 8 reps, and then I'll take some more weight off. My third set, usually go about 8 to 10 reps. As soon as I hit that upper range echelon, that's when I look to increase weight the next week. So I might add 5 pounds the next week, and my reps might go down 1 or 2, and I'm gonna work back up to that 6, 7, 8 reps. Once I hit that top, add weight and keep going. So that's the idea behind progressive overload and incorporating that with reverse pyramid style training, which I found is the most efficient way to lift for somebody like myself and for other guys out there that they're really busy. They don't have a ton of time in the gym. They wanna get the most out of the 30 minutes that they can squeeze in the gym. And for me, I do it every other day. So I'll lift, rest day, lift, rest day, so on and so forth. If I have a busy weekend, I'll take a couple days off. I don't sweat it. It's a long-term game. But the idea behind spending an hour a day in the gym, 5, 6 days a week, just isn't feasible for most busy guys. And it's really just not necessary. So, all right. That said, let's get into it. Now, if you're a lifter, you can probably relate. If there's a line on the wall that's off, you want it to line up, because it throws off your entire game. So we've got some lights on the wall that I'm gonna line this bench up with. All right, here we go. Again, limit distractions. Think about what you want to do. Put as much effort as you can, as much intensity into each lift as possible. So 8 reps. That's what I did last week, and tell you the truth, that's completely normal. It's rare when you're gonna take 3 working sets and increase all 3 of them. Again, the idea with progressive overload is to make small incremental changes. So I added a rep on my first set. My second set, I matched what I did the previous week. So I'm already progressing from what I did the week before. All right, so I'm gonna take note. Anything that was off with my form, I might take note of. I noticed that, my glutes, maybe that last rep, I was kind of raising them up a little bit. So all these little things I'm gonna keep track of because I'm looking to perfect this movement as opposed to doing a great volume of movements. If I can get great at one lift, I can see much better results than being mediocre at a variety of lifts. So another thought that comes to mind here. So there's this old idea in business that the average millionaire has 8 different streams of income. And although that's true, most of them actually got to the millionaire status by focusing on one thing until they became wealthy. And then once they became wealthy, they started to diversify. Now, I believe the same is true when it comes to fitness, when it comes to weightlifting. I think you need to narrow in what you're doing. You need to narrow in and really focus on specific lifts and become very, very good at those lifts. The form that you're using, how much weight you can handle, how much intensity you can put into it, because then you're gonna get better and better and better and better. As opposed to focusing on too many things at the same time, you're really not gonna become an expert in any one thing. You're just gonna be okay and mediocre in a bunch of different things. And I think it goes without saying that being great at a few things is gonna provide much better results than being mediocre at a lot of things. So I think that's true in business. It's also true in fitness. So I've taken that method to heart, and I've really focused in on, I don't ever do more than 2 lifts per session, 2 different lifts per session, never more than 5 sets. And I put everything I can into those 5 sets and analyze the details of those sets. What could I do differently? How could I get better? So I think those, people in business can understand, and people that are running businesses, they're busy as an entrepreneur or an executive, and they're also trying to stay healthy, they're trying to stay fit. These things relate to each other. You're trying to build your physique, trying to build a business, you have to focus in, and that focus is really gonna be what produces the best results. Okay, so my third and final lift. Now this rep range is usually 8, 9, 10. I'm gonna shoot for 9 here, and this will round it out. All right, third and final set. See if we can get 9. If we're feeling really good, we'll get 10. The other thing to analyze too here, and the benefit of doing the same lifts over and over again, is if you're not making progress or you're moving backwards and you're doing the same thing over and over again from a lifting standpoint, you're doing the same lifts, you're tracking your weights, tracking your reps, you're focusing on form, and you're not able to progress or meet what you did the previous week, you can look at why that is. And it's typically from things that are happening outside the gym. Your recovery isn't on point, your nutrition isn't on point. So it really lends itself to fully analyzing what's working and what's not with that consistency. Think about a racetrack and car racers, or swimmers, for example, in the Olympics, they're timing every single lap. How fast are they going from point A to point B? And if they're not increasing, they have to fine tune their mechanics, their recovery, their diet. It's all about those fractions of a second. So I think it's the same way with lifting in this manner. All right, here we go. That was success. 10 reps. That's gonna round out really all of my chest work. 3 heavy sets of bench taken to failure. My pecs are completely wiped. Secondary muscles like shoulders and triceps got a lot of work. And in my opinion, there's no other need to jump on another chest exercise. Fully taxed my body, pushed it as far as it can go. Anything else could potentially lead to overtraining. It's just not necessary. There's no need to get on any flies, do incline presses, decline presses. It's just not necessary when you're gonna lift this way. So I'm gonna take 5 minutes, load up my next exercise, which is the military press, 1 to 2 sets of military press, and I'm out of the gym. 25 minutes tops. Busy guys, they're trying to stay fit, trying to build muscle. Highly recommend looking into a lifting program like this. So we finished 3 sets of bench press. Now we're gonna move into my second lift, which is the military press. Now the military press primarily is gonna work the shoulders. I think the military press is the best all around shoulder exercise. Now my shoulders and my triceps, definitely my chest, they got taxed during those 3 sets of bench press where I was lifting to failure. This is really gonna finish them off. 2 sets of this, and I'm out of here. Same idea, I'm gonna do full range of motion. I'm gonna push my body to failure using progressive overload, using reverse pyramid style, just like I do on all of my lifts. So I'm gonna load the bar up. The other thing I'll say, there's no need to warm up now. Your shoulders, your chest, your triceps are all muscles that are using this lift. They are fully warmed up, so no need to warm up. You can take your 5-minute rest, get straight into this next lift. So let's do it. Now I can definitely lift heavier than this, but it's the term known as ego lifting. I'm gonna have to sacrifice my form. I'm gonna have to limit my full range of motion. I'm not gonna be able to go down all the way or lock out at the top. There's just no need to do that. So using a full range of motion is gonna make sure that you work all of the muscles in your body that are used on each lift, and it's easier to track from week to week in this style. So if I'm looking to increase my reps, increase my weight, using a full range of motion versus sacrificing my form, sacrificing the full range of motion, it's just not gonna be consistent. So this provides consistency as well. All right, here we go. I think I had 8 on this last week. All right, we had 8 this week, successful. I added a rep on 2 different lifts in my bench press. So meeting what I did here last week is a win. Take 5 minutes and do 1 final set of military press to finish off my workout. Okay, so a couple thoughts that just came to mind is, if you're a beginning lifter, if you're a beginner and you're just starting out, I may not recommend diving into a program like this right out of the gates. And if you are, I might say, take some of the weight off and focus on higher reps, because I'd really want that beginning lifter to get comfortable with the weights, get comfortable with the movement, really focus on form, know what they can do to their body, how far can they push themselves before starting to add weights, lifting to failure, lifting heavier. So if you're a beginning lifter, absolutely, these types of lifts you can incorporate, but I would maybe stop a rep or 2 short of failure unless you're training with a pro. And I would maybe focus on some higher rep ranges, maybe 8 to 12, 8 to 15, just to start out, just to get comfortable with those movements and know what weight you can handle. And then you can really start to load yourself up. You don't want to get hurt, you don't want to get injured, and understanding the basic movements and what your body can do is pivotal before you get too heavy like this. Okay. Last set of the day. I'm gonna give it my all. All right, that's gonna do it. That's my bench day. Military press, worked my chest, my shoulders, and it was a success. I made some progress over the week prior. Now, if you liked this, I have other follow-along lift days in my channel, and I also do videos on nutrition and weightlifting and all things that help men become the most successful and healthy version of themselves. So if you like this video, make sure to subscribe for more content like this and leave a comment on anything else that you'd like to see. I'll see you soon.